And we are officially recording. All right, so welcome everybody. Just the basic housekeeping item for any Zoom that we do is if you have any background noise, please remain on mute. Unless you have a question, you can also use the chat box to ask any question. For those of you who are new to our events, TheNetWorks, we are the ones hosting the event tonight. TheNetWorks is a network of leaders, forward thinkers, and entrepreneurs who have joined together to realize success and to create and foster positive social impact. If you're interested in learning more about TheNetWorks or our members, you can visit our website at thenetworks.org, or you can find us on social media. So in celebration of Women's History Month, welcome to our Financial Wellness for Women virtual event. Finances and money are things that sometimes we don't really want to talk about, especially as women. And that makes it even more important to have events like this where we share information and learn about anything money related. So I'm going to start by talking a little bit about your money mindset. And got a couple of different screens going here. Talk about your money mindset. And I think that it's something that all of us can do a little work on. Now, I'll start off by telling you a story, which is one of the reasons why I really think it's important to have events like this. So I was at a networking business conference about a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago now. Who knows? Time is all relative at this point. There were breakout sessions that you can go to where you can learn about different things. There was like leadership and marketing and social media and all the things I love to go to. And then there was one on money. And I just skipped right over it. I was like, forget it. I don't want to go to that one. I want to go to social media marketing, or I want to go to leadership. I want to go to one of those, which is what I always did. So something told me that I should really attend. I looked at every other option. I wanted to go to everything else. I didn't want to go to that money one, but something said that maybe I really should go. Even though in my mind, I was saying to myself how much I hate money. That's what I was thinking. And I hate these things. But I said I should go. So I went. It wasn't what I thought it would be. It was about changing your mindset about money. I even won the raffle. That was the giveaway during that class, where the leader of the class gave away an autographed copy of his book. And then he and I actually became friends, and he became a member of the networks, and he's led a lot of different leadership and money events that we've done. So in that seminar that he did, he was talking about the ways that we tend to think about money. A lot of us, especially women, and I'm going to keep saying especially women, and a lot of us, especially those two that have been single parents, have had any challenges with finances in the past, didn't know much about finances in the past. I always had that frame of mind where I'm like, I don't like this. I hate money. I don't want to do that. I don't want to learn about it. Even, when we start to think about things like, I'm broke. I don't have the money to do that. I can't do this because I'm always broke. I'm always struggling. And then we tend to say these things all the time. I used to say, I'm broke. I don't have any money. I can't pay my bills. I have so much debt. I repeatedly said it to myself all the time until it got to the point where I realized that I think I was speaking those things into existence. So you know how we've learned so much more nowadays about opening up to manifesting and visualization and the power of our mind over things. And I was always a really big believer of that. I was always very big on positive thinking and making sure to not be negative about stuff. Always have been like that for many, many years. But for whatever reason, it never clicked that I was being negative about money. And so it just, something really shifted that day when I realized that I was speaking my money problems into existence. And not only was I speaking my money problems into existence, I was living it. I was feeling that negativity all the time because I was so stressed about money. So once I went to this seminar and learned about trying to change your mindset, it wasn't instant where I was able to change the way that I was thinking. It's really hard to change your mindset. I couldn't go from saying all those things to just all of a sudden saying, I'm rich, I'm a millionaire, you know, and just completely change everything the next day. So I started by saying smaller things that I could believe, because it's really important that you believe what you're saying. If you say something and you have no belief that it's true, it's not going to matter how many times you say it. But if you have some sort of belief or hope that what you're saying is true, you can build upon that. So I started saying things like, I have more than enough. And that was true. I have more than enough. So then I started expanding it to saying, I have more than enough to pay my bills. And that was true. I was getting by. So I started progressing on what I was saying. I created a vision board. And that year, for the first time ever, I put things on my vision board about money. I had never done that before because I had always said that money wasn't a big deal. Money wasn't important. Happiness was in other things. But then I realized that money can let me do more of the things that I wanted to do. So it was important. So I found a clip that said, I'm rich, are you? And I thought that was funny. So I laughed whenever I saw that, and I put it on the vision board. And I even started joking like with Brittany, and she'd walk into the room or something, and I'd look at it, and I'd say something. So I'd be like, I'm rich, are you? And I would make it a joke. And so we would start laughing about it, but then it felt good. It began to bring positive and joy when I started joking around about saying I'm rich. And it made me laugh, and it made us both laugh, and it became a positive experience. And so slowly, all that negativity that I was feeling about money, very slowly started to shift from a negative place to a neutral place, and then to a positive place. And this was during COVID, during a time that we actually lost an income in the household, and we got hit with a lot of expenses. All of my pets last year, or most of my pets last year, decided that they wanted to have some serious medical bills. So it was during a time that there was a lot of stuff going on, but we kept going. And by the end of the year, my income had drastically increased. And I found myself in a much more positive financial situation. And I really believe it's because I changed my mindset. And so I want to make sure that I'm sharing that with people, because especially going into an event like this where we're learning about money, if we go into it with a closed off mind and we go into it already deciding that we don't believe that these things are going to happen for us, then it's not going to work. So I wanted to talk about this at first before we talked with our other speakers for this evening, so that we can go into it with an open mindset and positivity. We can also have a snoring dog in the background because she must have heard that I was complaining about her, because now she decided to snore. Either that or I'm boring her with my positive mindset speaking. So that's one thing that I wanted to talk about, was money mindset. And just some suggestions, try it in small steps. So if you're having challenges, don't say I'm broke, or don't say I can't do that. You can say, I can't do that today. Or one of the biggest things I did was I stopped saying I'm broke or I have money problems, and I shifted that to saying I had financial challenges in the past. Oh man. We've got an animal loose in the house. So I tried to change it into these small little changes, and I think that it was really beneficial to being able to shift things. And then going from that into multiple streams of income. which is something else that was really important over this past year, was multiple streams of income. And that could mean a lot of different things. This past year, more than ever, many of us have learned about having more than one income generating activity. It could be a second job, a backup plan, a consulting or freelance gig, direct sales like Tupperware, a new product line. One of the people that just joined, Tanya, I don't know if she's available to comment, but Tanya really had to shift and adapt with her income because she had a spa that was closed. So having these multiple streams of income is really, really important, especially for times like this. And I would like for everybody to, when you think of these multiple streams of income, think about things that can also generate revenue for you while you're not actively working. Because we only have a certain number of hours in every day, and we don't want to be working all of those hours. So there are things that you can do, like for example, writing a book. If you write a book, you can have revenue coming in whenever somebody buys that book. Or assets that can appreciate, or property, which then leads us to our next speaker, who is Gloria, who we were introduced to briefly in the beginning of this call. Gloria, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself while I put myself on mute, since every single one of these animals in the house decided to participate at the same time?
Thanks for the introduction, Cheryl. Thank you, guys. I'm so excited to be here. I've always gotten motivated being surrounded by women, and I love attending empowering women's groups. So I always find that I walk away feeling much more powerful than when I first came in, because I find that we share so much in common, right? Like from the way we were raised to the goals that we want to attain. So I love this, and I'm so grateful to be here. So like Cheryl had said, I am a licensed associate broker. So I've been in real estate now for 17 years. I was an independent broker. I had my own brokerage for about 14 years. And then I decided to join eXp Realty. So the reason I joined them, going back to what Cheryl said, is because it gives me the opportunity to earn this passive income. So I've been able, over the last 3 years, I've been able to grow a team of 20 agents that are not just locally, but they're also national. So I have agents in Georgia. I'm recruiting agents in Florida. Now our company is international, so I'm able to grow my team internationally. So it gives me the flexibility and the financial means to be able to concentrate on other things that are not just real estate related, right? Because I think it's important for women to realize, like, to be able to pursue what it is that they want to do. A lot of times we're raised to follow what our parents expect of us, right? And then we hit this point in our lives where we're like, well, I don't really want to do that anymore. That's not what I really want to do. What is it that I want to do? So you need to be able to have the financial means to pursue that. So I'm grateful for the opportunity that I've had with real estate, but I've also learned that I'm also a creative, and I'm looking to focus more now on the design side of real estate. And I wouldn't have been able to do that if I would have stayed as an owner of an independent brokerage, because when you own your own business, there's a lot of responsibilities that come with it. And like just building that wealth, people have to understand it takes time. It's not going to happen overnight. You have to put the work into it, but there is something that will come of it. And there's a lot of lessons to learn, but there's something so empowering for a woman to be able to say, yes, I built this, I did this, and it wasn't easy, but I was able to do it, right? Against all odds, because we're all going to go through something. Just like she said, Tanya had to go and figure something out and shift. I went through it in the last recession that we had in 2008, when everything went down and real estate had gone down. I had to shift my business from sales to now selling short sales and foreclosures. But we're great adapters. I find, like, as women, we do that naturally. We figure out, okay, what has to be done. We can see what we need to do and we get it done, right? So that's basically my background. So I also give back to the community. I'm a volunteer. I serve on 2 boards, on an Asian real estate board, on my local environmental board. So I'm a big believer in just not, working, but also giving back, because I believe in doing well so you can give back to others. So yeah, so that's basically my background.
Thank you for sharing your background, Gloria. So can you talk to us a little bit about property ownership, for if there's anything in particular as women that we need to know about saving for a property, or just anything that we really need to know in terms of planning when it comes to property ownership and being a woman?
Yeah, absolutely. I always say you have to figure out what you're willing to deal with, right? If you're looking for your first property, am I looking to be a landlord, right? Being versus living in an apartment. When you live in an apartment, if you're living in a condo or a co-op, there's usually a management company or a super that will take care of any repairs that come up. If that's what you want to do, then that's the path you take. If you don't want to do that, then you look for a single family home. If you look for a single family home, you have to keep in mind any maintenance that comes up, it's your responsibility. So are you willing to deal with that? The same thing with a multifamily. If you buy a multifamily, now you're dealing with tenants. Are you willing to be a landlord to collect rent? What happens if they stop paying rent? Now you're responsible for the entire mortgage and expenses. So there's always things you have to consider. And I always, when I speak to my clients, I always say, well, what are you willing to put up with? So that's an important conversation that you have to have, right? What am I willing to do? And again, you have to understand home ownership is attainable. For some people, it might take longer to save money. There's first-time homebuyer programs. If you qualify, you can get grants to purchase property, but it all depends on your situation. So some people can buy something right away. Some people have to wait. Again, it all depends on what your situation is. But it is attainable, but you have to be realistic. That's what I tell people. What is it that you're willing to put up with?
And is there anything that's changed in the past year or so? I know that we hear things about interest rates all-time low, and prices really, really high, and people changing where they're living, and all this stuff that's going on, and it can get really confusing. So what can you tell us about what's been going on in the market?
So the interest rates are at an all-time low. So I'll give you an example. When I started in real estate in 2004, we had interest rates at like 7%, 10%. And recently they've been as low as 2%, which is a huge difference, right? But unfortunately, we have a lack of inventory. So you're competing with a lot of buyers in the market, right? You know, the law of supply and demand. So we don't have enough supply, but there's a high demand. So you're competing with buyers that might have more funds to put down, more of a down payment, whatever the situation is. So you're competing with a lot of people. So you have to keep that in mind. But fortunately, I've been able to find my buyers a home, because it's not always about the price. It could be the situation that the homeowner is in. Maybe the seller, it needs more time to find something, and my buyer is willing to wait. Maybe the other buyer is not willing to wait. So that might help them get the house. So there's always a way to find, to get into it. But I'm a firm believer, whatever's meant to be for you will be. So you will get your house. It might not be right away. You just have to be patient in this market, but it is possible, it's attainable. And I always say, just keep the faith, be real patient.
Is there anything different that anyone needs to be doing in terms of preparing for things like getting a mortgage?
Well, they definitely, once you get approved for a mortgage, don't go out and get more debt. So that means don't buy a car, don't open up a credit card, because that's going to reduce the amount that you're qualified for to purchase a home. And people have done it, unfortunately, not realizing that that's going to affect their borrowing, purchase power. So that's definitely something I would tell people. And just be patient. When I work with clients, I always tell them, if you see a property that you like, send it to me. I could research it for you, see if it fits the criteria you're looking for. We have access as realtors to information that the public doesn't. So, for the public, it might show that the property is available, but in actuality, it's not. We know the backstory to it because we reach out to the other realtors. We have that relationship. So just having that relationship with your realtor is really important. You have to have communication at all times.
I think, yeah, that's really important, is making sure that you have a good relationship where you can trust the people that you're working with to help you find the property that's right for you.
Yeah.
What about commercial properties and buying commercial properties? Since, a lot of people here on this call tonight are entrepreneurs and people looking to start businesses or grow businesses. What can you tell us about commercial that's different from residential?
So normally with commercial, there's a higher down payment if you're purchasing a commercial property. If you're buying a residential property where it's going to be your primary residence, you can buy something with as low as 3.5% down payment to get in. And then you would also have to pay closing costs. If you don't have the funds for closing costs, you can borrow that, right? So, I mean, there's certain requirements, but the realtor will help you with that. But with a commercial, you need a higher down payment. Normally it's like 20% down, and the loan is usually a shorter amount of time. It's not like a 30-year loan. So you have to really know what you're getting into when you're purchasing a commercial property.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Is there anything either with a residential or commercial that can come up that is specifically related to women or women in business? I'll tell you one challenge that we had at one point. We were looking for a commercial property. We were just starting to explore the possibility of looking into that. And I don't know why, but I found it very difficult to be able to even get someone to show me a property. And I don't know why, because it's the first time I ever was even thinking about it. So I don't know why I would have a challenge in getting someone to show me a property. So is there any challenges or anything specific related to being a woman or female business owner that can have an impact on that?
Yeah, I mean, there really shouldn't be a discrepancy when you're seeing with a commercial. They're going to ask you more questions, obviously, like what type of business, because if you're looking at a commercial property, there's certain commercial properties you could only have certain businesses in it, so they'll ask you more questions about it, but there really shouldn't be an issue with you looking at the property. So I don't know, you wouldn't have an issue with me showing you.
Write that down, everyone.
I mean, it's basically tailored to what it is that you're looking for, right? If you tell me this is what I need, and we start from there, right? And then we say, okay, this is what we have. Does this work for you? Okay, let's look at something else. It's again, it's a dialogue, it's a process, it's communication.
Okay. And does anyone have any questions for Gloria and anything related to real estate?
So one thing I do want to add, because of COVID, now some of the sellers are requiring, if we're showing a property, they want us to show a pre-approval letter from a bank. We'll show it. And they're asking for us to have signed COVID disclosure forms. That's like the latest update in real estate. Yeah.
Oh, I actually do have a question. What are there benefits? I know there's tons of differences in benefits, but are there like certain ones that are highlighted between just renting a space versus purchasing? Is there, I mean, I know that purchasing obviously is an asset and et cetera, but is there anything that you can think of when somebody's trying to make that decision for a business related commercial property, how they can make that decision?
So it's interesting to say that, because I had purchased a building and I wanted to use it for my real estate brokerage. Going into it, not understanding what I needed to do, what it required, I was actually changing the use of the property. I purchased a 2-family home and I converted it into a mixed use. So my intention was to rent out the bottom as my office space and live upstairs. Not realizing that when you do that, you have to go in front of a board of the town that you're buying it from, get permits, get permission from them, and it's a lengthy process. And it took about 6 months for that to be approved. All the while you're incurring expenses. So you really, again, you have to really aware of what's going to be required, how long it's going to take you. You don't know if they're going to approve it. They could have said no, but fortunately I wasn't doing like major change to the property. So they approved it. But keep in mind, I have a client now who's looking to open up a beauty salon. And at the last minute, they're telling her she has to install HVAC system, which could be like $30,000. And that's not what she was expecting when she, when she did her numbers. So that's what I mean, like really try to get as much as information as you can, when you're looking for a property.
And call you first.
Yeah, I'll help as much as I can.
All right, does anybody have any questions for Gloria?
Yes, Gloria, are you in Westchester?
Yeah, I am. I'm in Westchester. So I'm in Westchester. I have a team of agents that cover from Brooklyn to Georgia. and if you're looking elsewhere in the country, I have agents within the company that I can refer to as well. But
Can you put the link in the chat?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I can give it to my client because he's asking.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks.
You want to talk about multitasking and having extra people joining the
I love it.
This is Ajay, meet the team.
Nice. All right.
Hey, always hashtag always networking, right?
I love it.
I'm always multitasking. You guys should know. I can do the Zoom and do facials. I can cook with one hand, facial in one. Yeah, all kinds of stuff.
Oh, cool. Sounds like a woman.
Yeah.
All right. Does anybody else have any questions for Gloria? All right. If you think of anything, you can type it in the chat or unmute or use one of those little reaction thingies and raise your hand. I always think that's fun and we don't use them often enough. I think they need to have more of those. All right. So thank you so much, Gloria. We all know now who we are going to call with any and all real estate related questions.
Thank you, guys.
So our next speaker for this evening is Monica. Monica, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself? All your info is up on the screen for all to see.
Thank you so much. Hi, Cheryl. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me today. My name is Monica Martinez-Hess. I am a financial advisor with the company New York Life. I am from Mexico, and I came here, oh my God, 2001. And the reason that I am here is because I met my husband down in Mexico, and the rest is history. 20 years later, I'm still with him, and we're still together. Now we have two amazing kids. Mateo, he's 9, and Elena, she will be 6. I live here in Westchester, and since 2010, I started with New York Life. I have been an advisor, and then I went into corporate, and then I decided to come back again as an agent. I serve here New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Florida, Texas, and a few other different states. And now with Zoom, everything is so much easier, right? I'm also, more than anything, a mommy, and like we were saying, women, we can do it all. And congrats for months for the March. And I know you celebrate yourself every day, and I think we all should do, right? Thank you so much, Gloria, for that. And I need to share my screen, please, Cheryl. I'm gonna do it right now. There you go. Okay, there you go. Okay, perfect. Everyone can see it, right? Okay, great. So hopefully this presentation, I'm gonna try to be let's try to have a conversation. I don't want to be the only one talking here because, like Cheryl was saying, we don't talk about money, and all these 11 years of being with New York Life, I love working with women. And I have realized, like women friends, we talk about everything else except money with the women, right? With our friends. We talk about the husband, the family, the job, but we don't talk specific about money, okay? So if we want to buy a house, what do we need? Money, right? If you want to invest in a new business, what do we need? Money. And is no, look, Cheryl, we're in the same page. You see, number one, assessing your money mindset, right? And it's interesting because everything is about your mindset. I'm sorry, and what do you think about money? Like I told you, right? I am from Mexico. And it's so funny because when I was dating my husband years ago, he's from here and we met in Mexico. So one of the questions, it was like, when and where do you want to retire? And I'm like, retirement? What is that? First, yeah, it was in English, but also because I have never heard about retirement. Because in Mexico, in my family, in my culture, we don't talk about retirement because we don't retire. You know, grandma and grandpa, they keep working. And if they don't keep working, you know, selling candies outside the house, the kids, they take care of them. And then it's just like generational, right? The mom take care of the kids and things like that. So I was like, oh, retirement, that sounds good, right? So everything starts with your mindset, you know, and when he said about retirement, he's like, oh, I like retirement, right? And everything is about how I think, how you grew up. That's the mindset that we have about money. And if you didn't have a really good relation about money, guess what? You can change it, right? So that's number one. Then we're going to talk a little bit about income, budgeting, saving, borrowing, and protecting, right? And the third one, more than anything, is like you are going to be able to create your own personal financial goal, okay? So I'm going to ask a question. I know Cheryl shared a little bit about, you know, the mindset that she has with money. Anyone else wants to share anything about how did you grow up with a relationship and money?
Oh yeah, I'll talk about it.
Okay.
I think with a lot of us, if we're like first generation children with parents that are immigrants, a lot of them, the mindset is just to work hard, work hard, work hard. And you don't think about too much about what the future holds. So I had to retrain my mindset and move away from that mentality and really think about like the passive income, especially if you don't grow up with that, right? You're like the first person in your family to create that mindset. So I'm with Cheryl. I went through the same things that she had, and I had to actually go the route of just always telling myself with the positive affirmations. I actually went like the spiritual route. So I always say the universe supports me, and the money does come when you need it. It does come, but aligning yourself with what it is that you're really meant to do really helps as well. So I definitely can confirm with what Cheryl said.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing, Gloria. Yeah, you know, and now more than ever, you know, before maybe years ago, it was just like the guys working, right? And women just raising the kids, which is great. Trust me, you know, when I stay with the kids, I get more tired than working, right? It's crazy. I love my kids, but oh man, being a housewife 24/7, they're my heroes. So, and now, you know, we're working too. So there are more women in the workforce. And again, you know, sometimes when I sit with couples, it's like, even if they work, sometimes we leave the money and finance talk to the guys. The other day I sat with someone who just got recently divorced, you know, after like 35 years or something like that. And I met him in an event after COVID. And she was like, Monica, I have never wrote a check in my life, you know, and it's so true. You know, because sometimes when you're in love, sometimes you think you're going to be with the guy for the rest of your life, right? And you're going to be taking care of her because she raised the kids, you know, she did what she thought was going to be great for her family. And guess what? She never worked. All the 401k was on his name and the pension and everything, and divorced. And she's like, now what, right? So that's why we need to talk about money, and we need to take charge of our money. Okay, so if you're not feeling really good about it, don't worry, you're not alone. More than half of the adults do not have a budget. They don't know where the money is going. And guess, we need to tell the money where it's going, not the other way around. And now I think, you know, now with technology, it's so easy, you know, debit cards and credit cards, just like, boom, boom, boom. And then you don't have a clue where your money went, right? So that is always to have a budget. Nearly 24% of the adults do not pay all their bills on time. right? And now, again, technology is amazing. You just try to do everything automatic draft, you know, from your checking account, but this is where the budget is important. And also I highly suggest to have at least twice, you know, twice a month, a meeting with your money. If you are single, if you are married, doesn't matter, you know, if you are married and if you manage your money together, sit with the husband, with a partner to try to figure out where is the money going. Because when I sit sometimes with families, business owners, you know, we check statements, especially Amazon, Target, guilty of Amazon here, right? It's so easy. And then you don't realize how much money you are spending in those things, right? So let's check about money. And
So if we don't have a husband, can we sit with the dog or the cat and talk about it?
Talk about it. Yeah. See what those dogs and cats are spending their money besides bed bills and toys. And nearly 1 in 4 adults do not save any portion of their household income for retirement. Right? So it really doesn't matter how much money you make, you know, a month, a year, but if you don't plan, you're not gonna get anywhere. Right? I think we'll need to plan. And sometimes when we think about sitting with a financial advisor, with someone is like, because you are thinking maybe you need to have like 100,000 in the bank. That's not true. Sit with someone. I do volunteer, you know, and I do a lot of events here in the Austin School District. And I was super happy because a mom, you know, reached out to me and she said, hey, Monica, I need help. You know, I need help with a budget. I'm trying to figure out how to pay my credit card. So I sat with her. And she's making $1,000 a month, okay? She's a single mom. Do you know how much is her rent? $1,700. So yes, exactly. So when I sat with her, I was like, you are my hero. How are you doing all this? I mean, you are working, you know, like full time, and then you're making that only that amount of money, and then you pay the rent. It's like unbelievable, right? So I'm super happy, you know, that she raised her hand and say, hey, help me. So that's the process. Okay. Okay, so your income, you know, it depends if you're a business owner, if you're an entrepreneur, of course, we'll have to pay taxes. And if you're an employee, of course, you have some benefits deduct from your paycheck. Okay, the gross pay and net pay. Gross pay is what you earn, and the net pay is what you take home. Okay. And hopefully for the money that you take home, hopefully you're saving some money there. I'm gonna skip this because I know the time. But I really want to talk about savings, right? If you're not saving money and, you know, if you say, okay, I don't have enough in my paycheck, or I don't know how much I can start saving, start with something small, at least every week. If you get paid weekly, every week, if every time you get money in your account, I save, you know, and hopefully like at least 10%. But if you cannot do that, that's okay. But start with something. Even if it's like $10 a month or $20 a month, but create the habit, you know, of start saving money. Okay. Because especially, you know, with all we went through, you know, with COVID, like if you don't have any other streams of income, like Sherry was mentioning, you know, we all have emergencies. So that's always good to have some savings, right? Well, if you are an employee, any questions so far about savings? Any other person has any suggestions about saving money? No? Okay, good. Okay. So if you're an employee, hopefully you're getting some benefits, right? And these benefits get deducted from your paycheck. And that can be medical insurance, dental insurance, life insurance. And some employers offer 401k. And if you're an employee, maybe you can apport some money in the 401k, and I hope you are. If you don't know if you are matching, or more than anything, I'm sorry, if they're matching, just you can go to your employer and check with your HR department what is the situation with the 401k, right? 401k is a retirement account that employer offers. And remember, the 401k is always going to be tax deferred, meaning you put the money before taxes, the money keeps growing. And when you retire and when you take out the money, you know, you pay taxes on it. And of course, if you take the money before, you're gonna get a penalty and also you're gonna pay income tax. Okay. Okay, we talk a little bit about budgeting. Okay, budget. Let's talk about budget. Okay, so
Monica, I had a quick question on the 401k thing. If you are self-employed, what's the equivalent to that?
well, it depends, you know, you can always open IRA or Roth IRA, it depends. And also you can open what is called SEP, a self-employed pension plan. So what I highly suggest, you know, it depends of course, you know, your goals, right? What do you do and what is your situation? And more than anything, your time horizon and your income, that's what will be great for you. So I guess it depends on your situation. So talking about budgets, right? Of course, we all know what are fixed expenses: rent, mortgage, grocery, travel, transport, utilities, childcare, etc. And for the budget, is of course we all like to live, right? Like going out to dinner, but expenses, like let's say you're going to Target to buy laundry detergent, and then you saw La Chanclas, like $10, right? And then you buy them, and then you didn't need them because you didn't even remember that you have them. And then it's Easter, and then you see the little cute bunnies, like, oh, like cute little bunny, right? And then instead of buying just laundry detergent, you bought the bunny and the chanclas, and you didn't need the bunny and the chanclas, and now you're out of the budget, right? So I think it's a matter, you know, I always say this: I feel okay if I pay my first and I save money, right? And then if I have money to play, that's my money. But also for budget, I think you have to try different what kind of budget you like. There's apps, you know, there's Excel sheets, there's people like the like paper, there's the envelope system, and I think you have to try a few until you find one that you're going to follow and that you love. For me, it took me a while, you know, because Excel sheets, and then I needed to share it with my husband, and then the app, and then I needed the credit card information of his. So it was kind of crazy, but it's a trial and error, right? Until you find something that you like. So I think that's the key. Okay. And of course, you know, live within your means, be realistic about what you can afford and what you can live without. This is an example, you know, like sometimes we spend more money than we think. You know, if you buy coffee every single day for $5, it's going to be $18.25 for the year. And maybe you can buy a machine, it's going to be $300, right? But I know some people cannot live without their coffee, which is okay, you know, but budgets, you know, if it's in your budget, do it. We need to live too. So when you put together your budget, you know, what are your savings goals? What are the needs? What are the expenses? And track your income and expenses monthly, at least. And again, find a tool or system that works for you. So savings. What do you need to save for? Emergency fund. It's highly recommended to have at least, you know, between 4 and 6 months your monthly income. You know, so let's start, you know, thinking about that. Of course, you know, you make $1,000 a month, try to have at least in savings between 4,000 and 6,000, try to have it liquid in case of an emergency. Then again, right, Gloria, if we want to buy a house with Gloria, what you need to start saving, right? So I can help you with that too, to put together a plan, and then you go with Gloria and buy the house. And then if you start a family, right, children, college funding, all the fun things like adulting means. This is a really good example when you start early. This is pretty spooky in a good way. I went back, hold on, there you go. So this is a 30-year-old, okay, who is saving only $2,000 a year, which is not like a totally insane amount of money, okay? When that 30-year-old gets to 60, is gonna have $244,000, okay? If you wait only 2 years, 205. If you wait 5 years, 157. And if you wait 10 years, 98,000. So this is, you know, more than anything for the younger people in the call, you know, Start saving now. Start planning. Start protecting yourself. If you are single and no kids yet, save and have fun. But save money, and start early, because this is what time does, then you turn your head and you're like, oh, I'm 50. And then you want to retire at 65 and you don't have anything and you think you have a pension, and then you check the pension and you don't have enough money for the pension. And then guess what? When you retire, you're going to need also medical sometimes, right? Medical care. So there's a lot to plan. If you are younger and start saving, it's always better. Any comments so far about savings?
I have a question, Monica. Is that the savings? Is that like in a mutual fund?
This is, the rate of return, which is kind of high, this 8%, but more than anything, this one is kind of an example and try to, to make you like, oh, wow, I need to start doing something, but this is around 8% in rate of return. And it depends, of course, it depends your savings account, you have it in mutual funds and things like that. But yeah, really good question. Okay, so credit card debt, right? Of course, common types of debt, credit card, mortgage, student loans, car loans, okay? So this is a little bit about how the credit score components. 35% of your credit score is the payment history. 30% is the outstanding debt, 15% credit history, and 20% new credit in types of credit. All right, so you can get your free credit report once a year if you go annualcreditreport.com, okay? They can give you the whole report, and there's like 40 pages, because they tell you every time you pay a credit card, if you were late, if you were not late. And also something that I like about getting this is like if someone used your name wrong, your social security or something, you get it there too. And now most of the banks, they have the credit score, like Capital One has it and things like that. And I'm obsessed with my credit score, to be honest. It's like every week I check, it's like, yes, yes, yes. And then, oops, no, just kidding. Then go up, But it's super crazy, because even like if you use a little bit of credit, then goes down, And of course you pay it off, then goes up, But it's fun. To me, it's super fun to be checking credit scores. Okay, don't forget about protecting the most important asset, and that is you, right? You need to be protected, because at the end of the day, you are a little money machine who is making money for your family. If you are a mom, if you are a dad, your kids are thinking, you're going to be there. And thanks to you, maybe they're going to college. And more than anything, you need to plan for yourself, right? You need to think about retirement, and you need to protect yourself. Yes, and I'm talking about life insurance. When we think about life insurance, sometimes we hear life insurance and then you start running, but you need it. It's just, if you have car insurance, if you have cell insurance, you need some kind of life insurance. And of course, it depends on your objectives, of your budget. That's the life insurance that is going to be there for you. And trust me, all the hasn't been that many, but the death benefits that I have delivered to the beneficiary, there's no one person who asked me, what kind of life insurance did she or did he have, or how much did he or did she pay? You know what? Because that doesn't matter. The point is that you need to be protected. Okay, so of course, you need to consider what are the life insurance products that matches your need. And also thinking about just like protection, long-term care. Again, who's going to take care of us, especially women. Guess what? We live longer. Guys usually die first. And if you're married, to a guy, usually because of the mortality rates, they're going to die first and we take care of them, right? And then the guy dies and who's going to take care of us? Yeah, the kids, but I mean, you want the kid to be dealing with that. So we need to think about that too, ladies. Okay. So that's me. I'm going to open up and I want to ask, you think you're going to do something differently? What are you going to start doing today? What did you learn about all the amazing, the Cheryl and, Gloria share and what I share?
Well, I can say that you reminded me that when I changed jobs, I didn't move my 401k.
Okay.
And so that reminded me that I didn't open one at the new place, and I need to do that.
Okay, great. I'm glad.
So text me tomorrow, and I'm just kidding.
I will text you tomorrow. I will talk about the 401k, and I'll remind you to open the new 401k.
But it's true. Sometimes we just need that reminder. It's like we know, and again, as women, we have 19,000 different things on our brains at any given time. And so sometimes we need to have that conversation where it reminds us what we need to focus on.
Yeah, you know, I guess sharing and having these conversations, you know, with another women. You know, if you're in the same field, you know, maybe that person is making 20,000 less than you, you know, it's like, why, you know? So let's just talk about money. That's what it is. We need to start talking about money, and we need to start taking charge out of money.
Monica, I love how you said you check your credit. You're obsessed with it. I normally don't look at my credit like that. So now I have a new way of looking at my credit score. I'm usually like, now I'm going to look at it every week now that you said that.
Awesome. Okay, text me and then we'll share. No, Cheryl, I'm obsessed with credit scores. I don't know why, you know, it's like, yeah, it's like almost like
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, it's
Thanks
good.
for that.
Right.
You definitely reminded me that I need to start saving. Sorry, we got an echo going.
That's okay, don't worry. I'm glad, you know, and again, you know, doesn't have to be 10,000 a month, you know, start saving something, you know, can be like 50 a month, you know, but if you start young, makes a huge difference.
I did like seeing the chart you had when it came to saving of how much, like, even though it was 2,000 a year, how it was over like 5 years, 10 years, and like how that makes a difference, even if it's $2,000.
Yeah.
So it makes me want to start saving, especially because I have student loans and all that good stuff.
The adulting stuff. I'm glad, Angela. Yeah.
All right. Does anybody else have any questions for Monica? Oh, look at that. It's a little quiet in my house now. Now that I'm not the one speaking, all of the animals are sleeping. Hey, as a woman, we know how to wing it, right?
Totally.
So I wanted to thank everybody for participating, for joining us here tonight, for our speakers, for sharing insight. I really think, like we've all kind of said, it's just important to have these conversations. It's important to shift how we're thinking about things, to have power in our own finances and our decisions and our futures. I mean, going back to that comment about retirement, that's true. It's like sometimes I swear I'm going to work until I'm 150, and I don't work until I'm 150. So I think it's really important that we think of these things and plan, and feel a sense of control and power over our own finances in our lives, whether that's owning property, investing, having multiple streams of income, and even just talking about it. So what Monica said is really important there. It's just talking about it. And
yeah, I'm sorry, Cheryl, to interrupt, but something like talk to someone about money. Sit with a financial advisor. I'm here to help you, and of course, I'm not the only one, but sit with someone. I'm more than happy to help you. But talk to someone. Because it's really important. And sometimes okay, you can go in Google and things like that, but it's not the same, because everyone has different needs. And if you start planning now, it's going to make a huge difference in 15 years. And again, you don't have to have like 100,000 saved or 10,000 saved to talk to someone, right? And remember, all the information is confidential, right? It's not like a financial advisor is going to go and talk to someone about someone else, So of course, all the information is totally confidential.
And that brings up a point too, is that it doesn't matter how much you make, all of us should have a financial advisor. It's not just for, the uber millionaires who need to go talk to somebody about finances. We all should be talking to somebody who knows a little bit more than we do.
Thank you.
Can we talk about retirement too? Because I learned that the word retirement is really from the industrial age, where they had to set retirement for people because they needed to have the older workforce leave to be able to bring in the younger workforce. So that's why they set this retirement. But I'm of the mindset, if I'm doing something that I love, I'm not really working. So I'm going to continue working as long as I can.
Yes.
I don't look as retirement like other people do. I want to do something that I love to do. As long as I can do it, I want to continue to do it.
Yeah, you know what, Gloria, that you are saying in retirement before, it was because most of the companies, they used to offer pensions, and those pensions are gone.
Yes.
And then you were saying like 65, and then people will die younger.
Yes.
So it's like, okay, you retire at 65, and then you will die at 70.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's so true, but now technology, we're taking care more of ourselves and the medicine and working out more and being more active. Now, someone who retires from a regular job first, they don't have a pension. Mm-hmm. If you're planning to live only with Social Security, guess what? Maybe you're not going to have enough.
Right.
Because everything is changing. And guess what? You're going to live longer.
Mm-hmm.
So you plan to retire like regular people, let's say 65. Probably you're a woman, a lady, you're going to live another 20 years.
It's true.
Right? So 80 is like 20 years. So something that I do, like I sit with you and we talk about numbers and really real. It's like, how much money do you think you're going to need when you retire? Okay, so let's say for easy numbers, I don't know, 25,000 a year. So 25,000 a year for 20 years, how much is that? 500,000. Are you going to have that enough money? And if you don't have it right now, let's start figuring out how much money you're going to receive from your Social Security, how much money you have in your 401k, how much money that's going to grow, and how much and where is the gap, and how you can start making that money now and making the changes or saving more that they need to get you to that number. That's what it is.
I think too that this conversation brings up a really good awareness about a shift. So it used to be that you would work a job.
Right.
And you would work at that job until a certain age, and then you would retire and you'd have your pension or whatever it was and your benefits, and you were good to go. Then that started to change. And now you're seeing a lot of people who are retiring from that job, but then going on to do something that they want to do. So it's still income generating, but it's not that job. It's something that they want to do, but it's still bringing them income. Mm-hmm. And then you see a further shift where that's happening younger and younger. So people are not necessarily waiting until traditional retirement age to shift into something that they enjoy. It's happening sooner, where people are realizing that, hey, I don't want to spend 30, 40, 50, years working 9 to 5 at something that I don't even enjoy doing. Mm-hmm. And so talking about money is also talking about what do we actually enjoy doing and what can we do that generates revenue as well. Sometimes we have to have both. Sometimes we need to have a job and something else. Sometimes we can make a shift from one into the other. But I think it's a good shift. It's a good shift that we're learning earlier how precious life is and how we should be spending so much time doing the things that we enjoy and love to do.
And the reality is that if you're fortunate if you're in your job for 30 years now, because if you're lucky enough to last that long in your job and you haven't been fired, because normally if you're in a job for a long time, they look to get rid of the people that have been there a long time because they want to hire people for a lot less, right?
Yeah,
they're usually at the top. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally true.
Yeah, so it forces you to really say, okay, I need to find something that I'm gonna enjoy.
I know Tanya's doing 12 things that she enjoys.
Go, Tanya.
All right, listen. Nowadays you have to have an A, B, C, D, E, even an F plan. Hey, the hell, A through Z. You need all the plans. Sometimes one source of income is never enough.
No, it's not anymore.
Like with me, I do everything. I'm like the jack of all trades. I do skincare, I do Monet, I do spa, I do climbing the trees, I do rock climbing, I do skydiving, I do everything. You name it, I do it. But yeah, if it brings me money, I'm doing it.
I love
I'm
it.
just kidding.
I know, I love it.
No, but multiple streams of income. No, seriously, I am so hard on that, and I talk to everybody. Not everybody, like most people that come to me, or not come to me, like we engage in conversations about working, and I'll run into a few people that say, oh, I don't like my job, but I have to do it. So then I tell them, but then why don't you, change a job or do something that you're more passionate about, or just keep your job and do something else. You got to add on to it. But nowadays, the way this world is, pre-COVID, post-COVID, you can be making 6 figures a year. You can be the CEO of IBM, and that money is never going to be enough.
Mm-hmm.
So, I always just, have a second stream of income, have a plan A, a plan B, a plan C, because nowadays, nowadays you have to, you have to have it. It's just like, you never know what's going to happen tomorrow. You don't know if the world's going to shut down again. You don't know if, God forbid, knock on wood, we get another crazy ass virus. We just don't know what can happen tomorrow. Your job is there today, yes, tomorrow it may not be there. So what are you going to do tomorrow when it's not there? Then you say, then you say to yourself, damn, now what do I do? Unemployment's not going to be around forever either. So you have to have yourself that backup plan. I've learned that the hard way. When my business shut down, I baked, but baking wasn't enough for me to, pay rent. It was just good pocket money. So then I had to say to myself, what am I going to do now? My business is shut down. The rent still has to be paid regardless. So I had to pick up a fourth income in my household. I have my fiance with me, but regardless of the point, my mentality is, what if he's not around? What if he's not there? Tanya has to do for Tanya, regardless of what my relationship status is. So that's my way of thinking, and that's how I try to tell my girls and other people. You have your spouse. You may or may not have your spouse, but if he's paying all the bills, that's okay. You're lucky to have that. However, what if he's not there tomorrow? Mm-hmm. Or what if you just don't have that extra income in your household coming in? You got to prepare ahead, prepare for the future, because we just don't know what's going to happen.
And get life insurance.
And your life insurance.
Yes.
And thank you to my Jessica. Now we both have our life insurance policies.
I'd have it made if all the pets in this household had jobs. I tried, but
How many pets do you have, Cheryl?
we don't want to go there, Gloria.
Monica,
That'll remain
Monica, do you have pet insurance?
2 chihuahuas. I have 2 chihuahuas and lots of insurance. Yes.
You'll have to know when we're looking for my home, Gloria. You'll have to probably know how many pets are at that point.
Monica, you guys have pet insurance too?
No, we don't. We don't.
Oh,
That is a benefit of the networks of which you are a member. So
Pet insurance, really?
pet insurance, yes.
Oh, call me tomorrow. I think that Jose and Juanita, I haven't get it. I was between Trompanion and Help. Yeah, call me.
Yes, I will call you tomorrow. One last thing that I wanted to kind of wrap up on, and somebody mentioned it, and I didn't mention it in the beginning, which I should have, but one good thing that's really important in this whole mindset about money is giving and gratitude. And, being able to help others, even if whatever it is, whether it's a small, financial donation or our time or ideas or whatever it is that we're giving is also a part of this whole cycle of finance and financial wellness, is just being able to help other people as well. And be grateful for all of the things that we have.
Give to give, not give to get. That's what I say.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Do well to do good. Yeah.
Because you know what, the more you give, you just focus on giving and serving and helping others. I mean, it just automatically, it's like, instead of figuring what's in it for me, you're gonna get, it's like, but like Zig Ziglar, what he said, if you help enough people get what they want, you get what you want. But that's what it's all focused on, is giving and being there and serving. That's the main thing.
Yep. I'm with you.
Yep.
Gloria, you have somebody in your mirror.
Yeah, my daughter. Bringing me my iced latte.
Your wall looks like you belong in my house next to me too on this couch with
I know. How crazy is that? We literally have the same color. Not everybody
Yeah,
has this
yeah.
orange color. Wait, the cat's gonna come through my screen in a minute.
All right. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us tonight. I appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing you all again very soon.
Yeah.
Yes.
Be safe and healthy, everyone.
Thank
Yes,
you
you
guys.
too,
Nice
guys.
to meet
Thank you.
Have a great night.
Have a good night, everyone.
Bye.
Yes.
Good night.